नमस्कार। हर माँ जब अपने बच्चे को घर छोड़कर जाती है, हर दिन वो पता नहीं मेरा बच्चा कैसा होगा, वो ठीक से खा रहा होगा कि नहीं, उसकी तबीयत खराब, पता नहीं उसने विटामिन्स लिए कि नहीं, कल उसका एग्ज़ाम है। आज वो बहुत रो रहा था लेकिन आना पड़ा। आई एम अ बैड मदर। यहीं से शुरू होती है हर उस स्ट्रॉन्ग वुमेन की कहानी, जो देखने में बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग लगती है लेकिन हर दिन अंदर ही अंदर घुट। My name is Prerna. I am your host. I am a founder of a company called Thrive Edge, which is driven with a vision to make workplace worth living. I am your leadership coach, a posh consultant, and a soft skill trainer. Today's conversation is for every woman who has ever sat in her office after dropping her child at school and quietly thinking, did I make the right decision? And you run home feeling guilty for missing that school performance of your child or a bedtime story or simply another evening together. The truth is, millions of working mothers carry this invisible emotional baggage. They deeply love their children, they deeply love their career, yet they often feel they are falling short in one role or the other. So today, instead of asking whether working mothers are missing their children's life, we are asking a more meaningful question. Why do so many working mothers experience this guilt, and why children actually need to grow into a happy, confident, and emotionally secure life? To help us explore this, I am delighted to welcome Garima. She is an early childhood educator, teacher, trainer, a child development expert who has spent years observing children, counseling parents, and understanding how young minds thrive. Hi Garima, I'm delighted to have you here. Thank you so much for joining. How are you doing today?
I'm great.
I'm great.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's the conversation which every woman should, listen.
Yes, yes, yes.
And after listening this, my expectation is they should feel more lighter, more confident, and over all of that, kinder to herself.
Lovely, lovely, Garima. Thank you for saying this because, yes, I think kindness is quite missing in today's context. Often we get harsh on ourselves, and the external situation is, anyways, not every time in your favor. So, thank you for joining here, Garima. I'm really honored to have you with me today. So, before we begin this episode, please tell my viewers, who is Garima? And why do you think almost every working mother feels guilty?
Okay, so Garima has a lot of roles. Garima is educator, Garima is teacher's trainer, but on top of that, I feel Garima is always a mother before all of that. So, like every working woman, whenever I do anything, and I mean it, this anything can happen to meet my friends on a date, lunch party, or the birthday parties. Uh, the motherhood comes in between. And suddenly, am I doing it right? My children are at home and I should be doing it or not? So basically, yes, I'm a mother of two, working with the early childhood education and training lot of lovely teachers who are also working with the little ones and helping them shaping their career, and of course taking them out of the guilt
Oh, very
that
nice.
they are working for the betterment, they are working for their career, which is for the growth of their children as well.
Very nice, very nice, and that's a spirit I really like because often when we talk about corporate context or maybe institutional context, I believe that any learning and every learning that we carry in our life should go to our homes also, and definitely we'll talk in length about it in our today's podcast. So, Garima, because you rightly explained that you are an educator and a teacher's trainer and an entrepreneur yourself, have you ever gone to bed thinking that I was not the mother I wanted to be today? Was there any ever it happened that you encountered any such day?
Uh, Actually, yes. I have gone to bed thinking many times that I mean, it happened earlier, in the earlier age, when I was a new mother, that I am not a, maybe I'm not a good mother. Am I doing enough for my children? uh, in fact, the amount of, it goes to the detail that the amount of food I'm serving is enough to my child. Is child lunch is sufficient? Am I falling short of varieties of lunch? So yes, guilt is there. But I would say that having into this role, where I started learning this early childhood education, and more of that, where I started learning how child brain works, helped me a
Okay.
lot.
Oh, very nice.
So
Very.
many a times, so for example, I'll tell you one example where I came back home and I was frustrated. There was a lot of audits going on and many other things, and I came home. I was emotionally drained. Also, I was tired, and my child was crying on something very small that doesn't have much. You know how children are crying for a little things to break or little crystal to lost, all of this. So my child was crying a lot, and I was talking to them. I was busy on my work, and then you know how the natural mothers do, they get up and they stop doing that. Can we do this later? This is a very small thing, we will get you another, right? So what we do generally as a mother, we start interrupting.
Yeah.
But because of the knowledge and because of the learning which I'm having for the child brain development, I understand that it's not a time for a lecture, it's a time for a pause. Because children, when they are growing up to 3 year or so, their only right brain is functional.
Okay.
Left
Interesting.
brain start functioning little later, like you can say some children 2.5 or some children 3 afterwards.
Okay.
The moment when you realize that they're asking mama why this is,
Mm-hmm.
suddenly you realize at a point of time children starting a lot of questions. So
Oh,
that time we should understand that now child left work, brain started working.
all
But
right. Lovely.
at that time also they don't know how to integrate those brains. So left brain is logical and right brain is emotional. So that is why children throw a lot of tantrums, because they don't know how to process the bigger emotions. So
Very
I have
nice. So, so
taken a,
lovely.
I have taken a pause, and then I have said, okay, this is a time of emotion outburst. So I just sat with my child. I didn't say anything. I just sat. I just put my hand around the shoulders, and he cried and he calmed down after 2, 3, 4 minutes, and then I asked, okay, what happened? Tell me that. Oh, it's broke. Oh, I know that it was your favorite, and I'm also not that happy that it got broke, but just take some time, take some rest, and then we'll figure out the solution. Till that, why don't mama change and come back? So that pause helped me. So now the same night when I went on the bed, I went to the bed to sleep, I was not guilty myself. I was reflecting that, did I do what the whole incidents, did I do good today? Is there anything I can do better next time when I feel the situation? So when you have a knowledge of a brain development of a child, I guess you can take away your guilt. But I will also say the guilt does, so the knowledge doesn't make your guilt completely vanish. Neither your difficult days will go, but
Yes.
it will help you to show up again next day.
Very nice. I mean, very lovely, Garima, what you have shared through your own example. And while listening, I felt calm. So I'm sure that if we apply it in our life, most of the women's at least, since they are already doing a lot. And one thing that I really liked about this incident, Garima, that you just explained is that you were frustrated and you sat with the child. So you gave that moment of pause to yourself
Yes,
also, which also helped your child. So it is a win-win situation, whereas we complicate it, generally when we get frustrated, agitated, just go away from here, etc.
yes, yes, yes.
We are also again, we are again in a guilt, we are
Hmm.
again more frustrated, and child is also more frustrated, and situation gets worse.
Yes,
So thank you
yes,
so much
yes,
for
yes.
sharing this, and I'm sure that hearing this one simple trick and technique, and I'm sure that the hearing mothers will feel more calm, and it should really help them.
So I'll
uh,
just add on one thing, Prerna, here. Like, motherhood, I have realized it's not about getting every day right. It's
yes.
about showing up and repairing our mistakes.
Lovely, lovely.
Okay, we all make mistakes. how much I learn the brain development of a child, but I know that I am a human and I'm gonna make a mistake. So what we do then? So then you have to repair your mistakes.
Lovely, lovely. I mean,
Okay?
it's okay. I
When
think we
we
should
make
give that
mistakes,
space to
yeah,
ourselves and
yes,
be kind
yes.
to ourselves that it's okay. I mean, it's we are not
And we,
perfect parent and it's absolutely
like you
okay.
said rightly, we grow along our children that way.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
perhaps that's the kind of mother our children need, not the perfect one, but a learning one.
So nice. Lovely. Very, very nice of you and very right of you that they need a mother who shows up, who can say sorry, and who can build up the next day with calm and composed self. Loved it, how it is going. I'm really liking it, Garima. Thank you so much for sharing those insights. You know child development professionally because you said that you've studied early childhood development also, and you work with mothers. From your experience of your own ventures as well as being a principal of early child education, you have the knowledge, like what make motherhood easier because you have explained through your example. uh, is there something that make the guilt worse because you feel that you know better, you can do better, but generally, like I said, because we are frustrated and already into multiple things, and there are most of the women who prefer to cook and then they go to office, and then of course in office they are aspirational, they are fighting different things at the same time, they are running errands, and then they are coming back home, not even for couple of minutes that they have where they can actually relax, but they start getting into the work again, and then lot of guilt along their way when they deal with their children, their family, and then they think sleep with an anxiety that again next day same things will happen. So a lot of things are happening in the office, and then a lot of things are happening in the home. So what do you think about it? Is there anything that can actually make this guilt worse? Let's talk about that, and then we'll come to solutions. So what should they really
Yes,
avoid?
yes, yes. When you have a load of knowledge about, the child brain development, early childhood development, so in the beginning, knowing child development actually made my guilt worse. Because when you understand how important early years are, and you become very conscious of every interaction, so then I used to lost my patience that, see, I know better, I teach parents, I teach children, how can I do that, how can I react that way to my child? Yeah. So again, like I remember one after a long day, like when I came back, I was sitting having a cup of tea and my child was keep on interacting, mama, mama, mama. And along with the tea, I was just trying to finish something very important, I think a final report or something, and I finally raised my voice, which we all can understand. So immediately I again felt that, you know, flashback of the knowledge.
Yes.
And I started feeling my guilty. So my professional mind started again reminding me, Ki Garima, take a pause, And then I remembered something, and equally important, that neuroscience teaches us children don't need perfect parents. They need parents who repair relationships. So after I calmed down, I went back to my child. I said, I'm sorry. So this was with my older one. So she could understand this conversation. I said, I'm so sorry. I was frustrated, and I just wanted to send this final report within the time limit. I shouldn't have spoken to you the way I did. It wasn't your fault. And then we hugged, and she said, Mama, it's fine. It's okay. I understand that. So the moment taught me something, very powerful, that even the children are very small, but saying sorry to your children doesn't make you any kind of less. It only strengthen your relationship. So I always talk about in parenting, like repair. We all make mistake, but whenever at any moment and any point of time you realize that I made a mistake, you can say sorry, you can hug. If your child is small, that they cannot understand your word, they will understand the gesture. So you can show up every time, and you can make your relationship strengthen. Then I think what you are talking about, the guilt. Yeah, the guilt
Yes.
when you are in the when you have a
Guilt
knowledge,
that
it
mothers should
doesn't
actually
come.
avoid. I mean, they should avoid.
Yes, yes, yes. So then,
Okay.
after over a certain period of time, my knowledge stopped becoming a source of pressure. It was in the beginning. It was a source of pressure to me because I realized after some time. But now I think it inculcated into my habits, and I understood that I can repair, and I'm
Lovely.
careful anyways. But we can repair. Yes.
Lovely. So, Garima, do you think that in today's generation, I mean, I was actually reading it somewhere and I saw that it was being said that since ages and centuries, and we have been knowing civilizations, women in today's context are the most lonely mothers without any emotional support. They are dealing with everything on their own. Earlier, there were bigger families, more connected the infrastructures, in cities also, small towns also, villages and everywhere. But now it has come through a research that women are most lonely as a parent, as a mother. They are doing it all, everything by themselves. So do you think that in today's generation, mother are in more pressure to be a good mother, so being alone, and on top of that, so much of the parenting advices here and there that we see on social media, that's how you should be, that's how you shouldn't be. So are they under more pressure to be a perfect parent now?
I think, I mean, I will say a little bit. So I'll first tell you the loneliness part, I think. Uh, so there are, I think, couple of things. Your question has two, three parts, but I'll say that yes, unknowingly, mothers have created a impossible definition of good mother. And I will repeat this because mothers have created for themselves.
Lovely. Yeah. I think
You
we are talking
understand
about
that?
it for the first time anywhere I've heard. Yeah,
Yes.
please tell about it.
Yes, yes. Because any point of time, have you remember your father or your grandfather or your father-in-law come and said like you should wake up on time, you should feed your child on time? Have anybody said that? I think it's all the mothers who tell each other, and it's ourselves who give ourselves, a deadline that if my child lunchbox is not Instagram ready, I'm not taking off, taking care of the protein and carb and the fibers in the same tiffin. So
Hmm.
it's we who created for ourselves. So we expect that a mother is always available. Mother should never feel tired. I remember in the very beginning when I used to come back from the office, I used to throw my bags and go in the kitchen and make tea because people are waiting for me to come
Waiting.
back and
Yes, yes, yes.
prepare tea. We told ourselves that oh shit, I miss my child school one event. Why? It's okay, isn't it? Yeah. See, it's we who told ourselves that we have to prepare healthy meal, tiffin should be Instagram ready. The tiffin boxes are very fancy. We waste our time to choose the tiffin boxes and their bags because the other children all have very nice fancy tiffin boxes and bags.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think it's
So
we who
yeah,
created all of this.
we carry that
But
pressure on us to be the perfect
yes,
uh,
yes,
the
yes,
mother. And
yes,
with that context, how will you connect it to your earlier conversation that of course we have created a lot of pressure that way, that we want to be the perfect mother. uh, Now with all of that coming together again, it builds up on us, and we are more likely to get frustrated. So how would you what's your take on that? Because first of all the work and all those emotional baggages and guilt and blah blah blah, and then all these influence that we get on social media to be a perfect someone,
yes, yes,
which builds onto our frustration, and then again when we are not able to even yell when we really want to yell. And let's be honest, everyone at some
yes,
point in time as a
yes,
mother
yes,
want to
yes,
like throw
yes.
it out, but somehow we hold. Isn't it really affecting you as a human? It's taking toll on your mental health. What
Yes,
can you do?
yes, yes. It does take. Then again, here I'll go back to our previous conversation. Having some awareness helps you. So I'll tell you one example. Once I was coming back from the PTM of my children PTM, so we were talking. The mothers were talking after the terms get over. Then one of the parent, she has idea that what I do. She said, Garima, I leave from home morning 8 and I come back at again 7 and 8. So I feel like I'm just missing on my child. I mean, she was almost in tear. So I was just be with her for seconds, and then I just turned to the son, her son, and have asked like, Vivan, yeah, Vivan. So Vivan, what do you think? What is the favorite moment with your mama? What do you like most about your mother? Then he told, Mama read me story every day. And I really like the way she's, Auntie, my mama is so funny. She's the best to, mimic on the characters, and we laugh so much. And that's he said, and mother face got so relieved.
Oh,
And then I told her, you are saying you are missing your child, and see, so the memories, the child doesn't need hours. Child doesn't count the hours. Parents who count the hours.
so lovely, so
Yeah.
relieving.
So children count the moment, and that shift in perspective can help working mother replace guilt with confidence and intentional parenting.
Very nice. That's a new term I'm hearing. Intentional parenting.
Intentional
Conscious
parenting.
parenting was a very common word, but this is something new. Intentional parenting. Loved it. Very nice. Yes. So those small moments. So what you mean to say is basically built upon a small memory every day,
Exactly.
that will imprint into the behavior of your child rather than having hours with your child and scolding and not
Exactly.
adding any value, perhaps.
Exactly.
Lovely, very nice. I'm sure that, the mothers who are hearing this uh, feel relieved. They feel relieved that they are doing something. Very nice. So again, coming back to the point that you just said, that mother was almost into the tears hearing that. So we often, although the word is evolving, I'll not deny to that fact, but still there are a lot of assumptions about this into the society today, that people often assume that children of working mother become emotionally distant. Is this true?
Okay.
Because you work very closely with children's, you have done in
Yes,
your
yes, yes.
previous role when you were in into this early childhood education. So what have you seen, like parents leave their children into the schools, crutches, etc., through that context also, do they
Okay, so
really
I
get
will
emotionally distant?
say that I think this is one of the biggest myth about working mothers. In my experience, working mothers don't become emotionally distant because they work. In fact, most of them are emotionally connected to the children all the time. Even while they are in the meeting or at the work or at any point of time in the office, the constant backup
Thought
is there.
about.
Has my child eaten? Did they reach
Yeah.
school safely?
Hmm.
Oh, I forgot the water bottle to child. A lot
Hmm.
of things. So what I have observed, it is not a emotional distance, it's emotional exhaustion. Working mother are constantly switching between roles. So if they are professional at work, caregiver at home, and often they are emotional manager, around the entire family or the colleagues also. So by the time they reach home, they may be actually mentally or physically exhausted, and that is mistaken as emotional distance. Okay, so a
Interesting.
mother may not sit immediately on the floor to play or keep the phone side to play intentionally for those 30 minutes, 40 minutes. uh, but so the creating a bedtime ritual, listen them without distraction for 5 minutes, hug a little longer, all these things, those moments they count. And if mothers are become intentionally aware of all those things, I don't think the emotional distance word will exist. And it doesn't exist. It's just we are not using the right terminology. So I think we should start using emotional distance instead of emotional exhaustion. I think mother will be relieved a bit and again kinder to themselves.
Lovely, lovely. When I'm hearing all of this, I'm definitely carrying a lot of takeaways from this conversation. I really want exactly, the objective of doing this entire conversation today and going forward, a lot of things for women is to have more confident women out there. If this problem is sorted in their head and they start think less of the guilt, although it will be there, I'm sure. But even if
Yes,
there's a
yes,
lesser guilt and more of acknowledgement and acceptance and reflection and love,
exactly.
they can perform better at their workplace. So thank you so much. You're adding a lot of important insights and values
Prerna, I think
into this
the
conversation of how can they actually work on
the
themselves.
video frozen
Uh,
for me.
so. Yeah, yeah. So, because we are talking about guilt, and I said that guilt is going to be there, it is irreplaceable. This question just popped into my head is that, is there any uh, thing called as healthy guilt? For example, there's a competition, we say healthy competition. Is there something called as healthy guilt that exists? And yeah,
Yes. So, yes, yes, and I'm very happy that you raised this topic about healthy guilt because many mothers keep on calling their feelings guilt. Yeah, so I'll just explain for the viewers, like healthy guilt is like, I'm so sorry, healthy guilt is like uh, when there is a guilt that I was not able to spend a quality time with my child. Okay, so today was the day when I was not able to do that, but let's figure out tomorrow, and tomorrow what else I can do better with my child. That's
hmm,
a healthy guilt. And the
okay,
toxic guilt is, oh, I could not spend my day with my child. I am a very bad mother. You know, my child deserve a better mother. I am not able to do anything for my child. You know, that is the toxic guilt. So it's very important for mothers to understand that guilt is okay. You know, we all are human. Guilt is okay. But when you be aware and when you understand what your child need, and if you work toward your children need, you know, your guilt will turn into a healthy guilt.
very nice.
So having
Hmm.
guilt is not a problem, but again, parent has to understand that what the child requirement is. That's very important. I think mothers, all the mothers they know, what their child need.
So
So
how can they really understand that this part is a good guilt and now it's turning toxic? At is there a moment that they can understand?
it's a reflection. I always say it's a reflection. So like we were discussing about going to the bed, like we are going to the bed with some thought whether we are a bad mother or good mother or whatever. But when you are little intentional about your parenting, you can understand the situation, you can understand the scenario, and you can make yourself understand how much exhausted I am, how important work I did today in my office, and I did everything for my child. What is the requirement throughout the day. You know, his day was planned very well. Just the important part which I could not do is maybe spending some 30 minutes with him. So okay, why not while on the bed I read a story, 5 minute story to my child, and tomorrow how can I make it even better, instead of thinking, oh, I'm a bad mother, because then you are, you know, you are trapped in your emotion. At the moment you realize that I am a bad mother, you are trapped into emotion, and then it will lead into your, you know, depression kind of thing and thing. So again, intentional parenting will always help you to you know, bifurcate or understand the real kind of guilt.
All right. So Garima, in your previous days, if we talk about you know your experiences into daycare, so have you ever seen a difference in children's behavior or their personality or any comment that you have to make on child of a working mother as well as a child of a homemaker? Did you ever
Very good,
realize?
a very good question. So it's not about, I mean, I will maybe the change the, I mean, I would like to say the question with another perspective, or maybe the my answer will be the another perspective. uh, Instead of saying working mother or homemade mother, I will turn the question into quality time versus quantity time. I have seen the children who are in the daycare like from 10 to 5, and I have met the mothers who are all the day with the children, and I have seen the situation also both ways. I have seen a working mother have raising the children very nicely. uh, the homemaker mother completely distracted and disconnected with the child because of the family gossips, because of the family pressures, and lot of household chores, So I have observed both the situation equally. That's the question should be rather than a working mother or a homemaker's mother should be on the quality time versus quantity time, because
Basically,
again,
yeah, so basically what you are trying to reflect here is that there is, I mean, it is irrelevant to even say that she's a working mother, hence a good
yes,
or a bad. It's
yes,
all about whether you're working or you're not working. If you're
exactly.
spending quality time, you are raising a good child. But if you're not spending a quality time, you're losing upon something. So it has nothing to do with whether she's going out for 8 hours. Nothing to do with it.
Exactly. That's what I have earlier also told. I'm repeating it again. Child do not know to count hours. Child know to count memories. They
Yes.
count moment. They count the hugs. They count the 5 minute play which we share together, right? So yes, I think that question is, if we start taking the questions differently, the mother's perspective will get changed.
Yeah, I mean, so this is really powerful, and to all the mothers hearing this, I would like to tell you that, since it is coming from that place where someone is spending time with so many children who are
Mhm.
spending equal amount of time, I think this is valuable to them, and I'm sure that this will help them change their mindset that it has nothing to do if you are doing something for your ambition, for your career. Please don't
Exactly.
feel sorry about it that, I'm going out and I'm working for those 7 hours, so it means I'm
Yes, yes.
I'm not investing my time on my child, or I'm doing anything less.
Exactly.
Because you see that it is irrelevant whether they are working or not working. It is all about something which is
So
very
I'll
more
I'll
important.
sum up with this, like, children don't need a mother who is present every minute. They need a mother whose love is predictable, whose hugs are genuine, and whose
Yeah,
presence whenever she's with them make them feel safe. you know
absolutely. Yes,
so
I
here
can
again a
connect
new
with you.
word is there, like, yeah, love should be predictable. Child should know that whenever I need my mother, she will be there.
Oh, that's important. That's nice. Predictable love for a child. Lovely,
Totally.
lovely, lovely, Garima. Thank you so much. So, let's talk about a moment in your life, which actually apparently many working mothers also face every single day, or many often, that your child is crying and you're leaving for work. They are crying, Mama, please
Hmm.
don't go, Mama, please don't go. You have an important meeting, it is inevitable. You cannot at that moment just stop. And somewhere inside, you feel like you're choosing your career over your child. What would you say to that mother?
I will say that I will say to the mothers that you are not choosing over your child. You are choosing career for your child and for yourself, right? So always mother should remember that they are not choosing between them. The work is work and children are children, and she has to, I mean, she's balancing all of this. Okay, so for example, I'm saying that if mother is going to the office and child is crying, so that is one perspective which others can see. But have you ever thought what child is seeing in you?
Yes, that's important.
Child is crying that I wish that my mother could stay me for all the time. You understand? But if you stand there, so this happens in my school actually. So mother was like, Garima, he's crying every day, I don't know what to do. We were been constantly telling, like, don't worry, as soon as you go the child gets fine. So then we ask mother, okay, you stand in the corner just hiding from him and just see for 2 minutes. And believe me, Prerna, it was just 30 seconds. As soon as child was dropped in the class, wiped his tears and started making the block, throwing a ball on somebody. And mother started laughing out loud. You all were correct. So it's like that. So the child perspective is, my mother is responsible, my mother is loving, and my mother is very hardworking. So you see child perspective, what child is think. So I always say working mother children doesn't think that my mother is leaving me and going. They are also learning that my mother is doing something else. My mother is hardworking. She is equally contributing to the household expenses. She is equally knowledgeable maybe as my father. right? So if you see, the child perspective is beautiful. So ladies, women's, please come out of the guilt. You are awesome, you are doing a great job, and you are raising wonderful human beings.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you so much. And since you're talking about it, it just reminds me of my own child. So I see currently my aspiration is his aspiration, because I keep talking to my child about my Thrive Edge and my company and stuff. And apparently he's more aspirational than me. Mama, when we are going to office? Mama, when is a bigger office coming? Mama, when is this happening? When are you launching this? Mama, when are you launching that? So I
Oh,
can totally
sweet.
reflect.
Yes,
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, that happens. You're very right that I
yes,
think we
it
need to
is.
channelize that energy,
Yes.
and we need to channelize their mind. I mean, they cooperate, in surprising ways.
They
We,
cooperate and they understand.
yeah, more than anybody
They
else around you.
understand more than anybody else. Even a child is 1 year old, you also understand. And again,
Absolutely.
working mother, if they're making a, so children understand the predictable day. Then if my mother is going, my mother is packing everything, sending me, but she will come back to pick me.
Yes, that's nice.
Yes,
That's why I
so
think
they
first day of school
understand
is often very
everything.
difficult for parents, because that day children cry like crazy because it's unpredictable for them, but eventually they build that habit. Yeah,
And I
so
and I say
ladies
mothers,
hearing.
yeah, and I say mother with children are crying when you're dropping them, it's a very normal situation. In fact, that shows that their brain are growing healthy. I mean,
Okay.
suddenly you are sending a 2.5 or 3 or 1.5 over-year child to somebody else. Why child shouldn't cry? Isn't it a natural emotion?
Yes, absolutely.
Isn't it? So it show. I often tell my parents, it is showing that your child is developing a healthy mind. The child is understanding the separation, the anxiety, the sadness part of it, and then when you come back, the child will come happy and hug you. So again, you understand the number of emotions child is able to process and handle and
Yes.
analyze, that mother is going morning but come back in the evening and pick me up. So it's all good. It's all the natural development of child. There is nothing wrong in that.
Very nice. Lovely. So if just to take it a little further ahead, with your same experience that we have been talking, I mean, while looking at a child, I mean, coming out of that working or not working perspective, just asking, when you look at a child, can you tell whether a child is growing up with by an anxious mother, or a guilt-driven parent, or a mentally sorted parent? I mean,
So children are learning with many other environment. It's not only mother the child is learning. So we cannot identify mother guilt or mother anxiety by looking into the child, because there are many other people around. Maybe the mother is anxious, but the father is very patient, and the grandmother and family is very supporting. So it's not the only mother whose reflection is going to come on children, it's the whole environment. So I shouldn't say that I can understand the mother anxiety by looking into the child. But when they are together, maybe we understand that, because mother is anxious, so child start crying automatically when they are in a very smaller age.
With that quickly just reflects me. I mean, we are talking about mother guilt, and there's a lot about mother guilt. Is there anything called as father guilt that exists? Have you ever heard about it? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that you asked this question. Because parenting should, yeah, though we are asking about mother guilt, but it's true that we are also talking about parenting. So parenting should never be seen as only mother's responsibility alone. So yes, fathers experience guilt. They may not always talk about it, but it's very real. So I met father in parent teacher meeting who say ki Garima, ask mother, I really don't know anything. But I still insist, no, I understand that your role and responsibility needs you, but I want you to be and sit here so that at least you don't miss this chance to involve. And then when we start conversation, and then the answer which I get from them is, and then I made them realize, see, you are saying that you are missing completely on a child, but see, the information which you are giving is more up to the point which I am getting from the mother. So yes, guilts are there. Definitely I cannot do that, but the difference is that society has given the uh, traditionally given father a permission to focus on their work because they are provider,
Hmm.
while mothers are caregiver. So because of that, we
Naturally.
are giving an unsaid permission. If you're missing your child, it's okay.
Hmm.
But they feel guilty. Yes, I have met the parent fathers who also met the guilt. But the research on child development says that children don't just need mother; they need emotionally involved fathers too.
Yeah. Yeah, even I've read
A
about it
father.
that, yes, yes, that father's role is very important in raising a confident child.
Yes, 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 yes. It's very important. So if you have analyzed in your home also, like fathers, they are natural player with the children. They just involve in the playing naturally. They lie down on the floor, children are there on their fathers,
Lean
and
on
they
their
are playing.
body.
They don't. Also, we are the ones who like, can we make a block or we solve some puzzle? We are thinking logically. Well, parents are just naturally playing with the children, and that is the moment when children looking
Actually
forward for
connect.
maybe, yeah, they connect actually. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely,
So
lovely.
yes, yes.
In order to make this, entire conversation around mom guilt a little relaxing for mothers, I think one thing that they can do is they can ask for help, you know. But having said that, I don't know why. I mean, there are two perspectives that I keep hearing about it. One is it's their own notion that they want to take help. Second one is for some other pressures of the home, society, etc. They feel again a lot of guilt or whatever you call it as, but they don't want to ask for help. So asking for help, uh, can we normalize this, and can you share your thought about it, that why should you think that mothers in general ask for help, and until unless they feel ask for help, they think that they will be demanding, and they people will judge that they're inadequate. What do you have to say about it?
I mean, the kind of expectation these days mothers have imposed on themselves. But the truth is, can any human being constantly live up to those expectations? No, I mean, we want everything to do by our own. If we don't like our maid's work, also many a time, we feel like we should remove and we should do on our own. So it's not humanly possible. So the problem is not that mothers are failing. It's like their expectation on themselves are unrealistic. You know, uh, the women constantly compare themselves to the impossible standards, so their guilt become huge.
Hmm.
You know.
Interesting.
Uh, yeah, so I think they should be again the kinder to themselves and they should ask for help. Even I was remembering one time to hearing a podcast of PepsiCo CEO, uh, Nindra Nui. So she was on the right thing. She was just talking on the same thing, like, ladies, delegate your work
Hmm.
to the every family member. If you don't do it, you cannot survive. Because she was telling, when she was talking about this, she was taking lot of roles at some point of time.
Hmm.
So she was telling that how she used to delegate all the every work, like when the children are calling to receptionist, I want to talk to mama and mama is in the meeting. So receptionist used to give a huge list of questions before she transfer call to mama. So receptionist was trained for that. Okay,
Oh.
have you finished your breakfast? How many questions were there today in homework? Have you done all of that? Then mama gave you this sheet today. Mama informed, have you done this sheet today? And then after 5 minutes of engaging the child, she tells like, mama, I will call you back in 10 minutes. She's in the meeting. So you have to set your environment around that, things are taken care. So you are human. So mother should always remember you are human, right? You have to ask help. You cannot grow and you cannot uh, what you say, guilt free your career and your life if you will not distribute the work among the family. So please
Generally,
don't
what
worry about
stops them
that.
from asking from that help, as per your perspective? Why do they feel it difficult to ask for help? And they think
Again,
that
the
nobody will
burden,
help.
the burden of a good mother. No, the burden of the good mother. Because till now also our society, like, girls should work, ladies should work, but before going to office, आठ पराठे और सब्जी और दोपहर की दाल.
Hmm.
अंडरस्टैंड.
Hmm.
तो अभी सोसाइटी इज ग्रोइंग, आई एम श्योर. अभी भी वो कहीं ना कहीं वो हिंड्रेंस है कि अगर आप बाहर जा रहे हो, वेरी गुड, यू शुड वर्क, यस, यू शुड कंट्रीब्यूट इक्वली टू द फैमिली. लेकिन वो सुबह के पराठे और सब्जी और वो तो आपको घर के जा.
So, I remember, yeah, I remember talking to one of my colleague in my company, and she said we don't go from work to home, we go
Huh.
from work to work,
I
and
completely
equally
agree.
taxing work to equally taxing work, and I mean
Yeah.
a man work sun to sun, and a woman work 24/7.
So I
So
think when you make your family understand, then you are also contributing to the family. You are contributing to the society. You are equally contributing to your children growth because they are seeing a progressive and learning mother. I'm sure they understand, and they also understand how hardworking you are. You are putting your all the hard work to make everything on place, and then if something is left behind, they can take care of it. So I'm sure if you take, don't assume that they will think. So the
hmm,
mistake which many women do it, they assume they should understand.
yeah,
Maybe they should, but why not you explain them that what are you doing? Why you are asking them help? So I
lovely,
think this is the
lovely.
reason they are not asking for help and they are doing everything on their own and then they are getting frustrated and everything go haywire. So
Yeah, yeah.
please ask for help. Train everybody around the things which you want to, them to involve and explain them the reason. I'm sure you can make your nest beautiful and everybody contributing to their work.
So lovely. Now I'll bother you with a small mom guilt rapid fire that I have planned, and just seconds to answer every question. Just very quickly,
Oh,
I'll do this with you, and
okay.
then we'll move on to the towards the end of this podcast. So very quickly, are you ready?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. I'm excited
All
too.
right. Lovely. Let's do it. All
Yeah.
right. So here we go. One thing mothers should stop feeling guilty about.
Working or not working, both. They shouldn't feel
Okay.
guilty about. It
Okay.
doesn't matter
Screen.
you're working or not. Yes.
Sure. Second, screen time, guilt or practicality.
I think balance.
Okay. Working mother or
Yes.
stay at home mother? Which one has it harder?
Neither, because they both are different. They both have different challenges, but same love.
Okay. Shouting at your child and apologizing forward. Failure or healthy repair?
Of course, healthy repair. Very healthy repair.
Okay. Taking a solo trip without your children?
I think it's choice, and then it's recharging also.
Lovely. Putting your child in daycare early?
Support. Oh my God, it's a big support.
Okay. Ordering food instead of cooking?
Practicality. Give your child more time that way rather than tired coming and cooking. Order a
Lovely.
meal, enjoy, and
Have a
count
good
on
time.
moments.
Lovely. Saying I need time away from my children.
It's honesty.
Lovely. A messy home with a peaceful mother or a perfect home with an exhausted mother.
Peaceful mother, of course.
One sentence every overwhelmed mother need to hear today.
Okay, so your child need your love, not your perfection. It's okay if your home is messy, right? So give lot of love to your children. That's it.
Lovely. Thank you so much, Garima. I mean, I'm sure that this entire conversation today is going to be very close to all the moms who are hearing this today. And as I felt relieved after talking to you, I'm sure that all the working mothers who are hearing this will have very important strategies. So beauty of this podcast today is that we know that we are doing wonderful. We know what we are doing wrong and what should we do rather, and we have got some insights on how can we build better strategies to maintain and keep repairing and having that healthy moments with your child in your parenting journey. Thank you so much for giving me this beautiful time, Garima, of yours. And about your work, before we wrap up this session today, uh, I'm sure that there will be a lot of mothers who would like to, just in case, talk to you and take such any other external help on this parenting journey or this mom guilt, so to say. So what do you do, Garima? I mean, through your initiatives, basically, about this parenting, about this teacher training. Just tell our viewers about yourself a little bit.
Okay, so So basically, I train teachers how they can better in the classroom, they can manage their classroom better, how they can understand the situation if any child is not behaving well in the class constantly, how to handle the child while you are handling many other children. So this, and then we used to talk about a lot how to make a better lesson plan, because if the teacher is prepared well, she can take the handle classroom better. And we also talk about the teachers burnout, because we see that at the end of the day teachers are literally tired. I mean, they have a huge burnout. So how they should handle the classroom and the lesson plan, so that they have little lesser burnouts also after their school sessions. I also talk to the parents, helping them understand if they have some situation which is a constant and they are not able to handle that situation. So I take sessions with the parent, one-on-one or group, anything, which I will give them some strategies, some framework, how they can help their with the children maintain a better relationship, and guiding the children how to handle the teenagers tantrums, and
Okay, that's
also
interesting.
yeah, and
That's
also
really interesting.
and also I take a leadership training in school, when all the coordinators and principal how to put all the things together and maintain and balance a better version of their school. So yes.
Lovely. Why do you think that teachers need this training? Because, of course, one thing you said that they are often exhausted at the end of the day. But what changes have you really noticed that these teachers' training really reflect onto their performance, and how can this contribute to schools per se? Because if they take such trainings, what change? What helps them? Because teachers are anyways trained. We consider that they are trained, isn't it? So, how does this help?
Yeah, so they train, maybe all the schools train teachers with their respect to their curriculum, right? But how to help children to regulate their emotions, right? So I always say teachers, like in the beginning when children come to the class, in your circle time, what do, right? So suppose child is coming with certain emotion from the home, like child has got scolded by the parent in the morning for the breakfast, and child is very sad, and suddenly child is coming in the class and you are expecting child to open the book and start doing that. No, right? So you have to first regulate their emotions when they come to the class, have some connection with the children, ask children how are their day in the morning, fix, talk to them so that they can relieve their emotions. Again, the integration of right brain and left brain, because morning the emotion burst out happen where the right brain is activated. They don't understand all of this when they are coming to the class. Suddenly you are teaching, not possible, right? So take the pause, ask how was their day, understand their emotion, sit on their level when they talk to you. So when we talk to our children, we connect our right brain to their right brain. Because if child brain is emotionally outburst and we are giving them logic, they don't understand that. So first
Okay.
connect our right brain to the children right brain, make them feel calm and heard. That's very important. This is same for the mothers also. So first make them heard. Automatically after hearing, they will be calmed down. And then you put on your logical brain to them to redirect for the lessons. So I always say you should learn how to connect and then redirect. Now this can happen both with the mothers and the teachers and educators.
Okay, lovely. Thank you so much, Garima. And this has been a really wonderful conversation filled with a lot of insights and, moment of wise insights from your end as well. So thank you so much for joining in today. And I really wish, that all the mothers who hear this uh, be a little kind to themselves
Yes,
starting from today. Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes,
Thank you.
yes,
Thank
yes.
you so much for joining in.
Thank you, Prerna, for inviting me on your podcast. I'm sure we both together can help them burden down and little
Yes.
kinder to themselves.
Yes,
Yeah, they
that's
all are
okay.
awesome mothers.
Yes, everybody's an awesome mother. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you
Garima.
so
It was
much.
really
Bye
nice
bye.
interacting.
Bye. Have
Bye.
a nice
Thank
day.
you. You too.